And we're live.
All right, welcome back, everyone. If you're watching us via the internet, we had a power failure, and we are so we paused our activity, and we are ready to get back to action.
Okay, this time I know I read resolution number 2023-14. So I think you were in the middle of discussions. I think Mr. Hurd was leading it, and then we'll need just a motion to adopt.
So what were we? Oh, we were talking about.
You were summarizing savings on the healthcare plan.
Yes.
So
by 7%.
So the way we administer the healthcare plan is if you take the HDHP, we're paying 92%. If you upgrade to the PPO, we still only pay what we would normally pay for the HDHP, but you pay the additional to upgrade. So essentially, the village pays 67% of the PPO plan. Our net cost is around $10,000 increase over last year at this point. So it's paying off that we're with the center because we had such a low increase. Everybody else is getting around 15% increases this year.
So we just need a
Motion to adopt.
Motion to adopt resolution 2023-14.
And there's a Marks and then Knipp a second. Is there any questions concerning this? Any other discussion needed? And if not, I'll ask for a roll.
So if I may say real quick, compared to where our benefits were 5 or 6 years ago, our employees do really, really well now. We had terrible healthcare insurance, very little life insurance. I think with the amount of money that we're able to spend and be prudent with, we've done very well. So,
Roll call, please.
who was the motion? So we have,
It was Marks and Knipp.
so that was for read by title.
No, that was
that was for adoption.
2023-14.
Gotcha. So you, okay. Ms. Cheney,
Yes.
Mr. Fisher,
Yes.
Mr. Knapp,
Yes.
Mr. Marks,
Yes.
Mr. Mayor.
Yes.
Thank you, everyone.
And that is all I have, Your Honor.
Thank you, sir.
That was fun.
All right, executive committee did not meet this evening, and Mr. Van Harn is not present currently. Planning Commission, Mr. Marks, I see the next scheduled Planning Commission meeting is scheduled for Monday, June 5th at 6:30 PM, pending any business.
There is no meeting at this point.
At this point, there's nothing pending.
All right. Community engagement, Mr. Bussey, do you have a report?
Yes, we met last week, May 16th. We primarily discussed the possibility of a physical newsletter. I did provide a mock-up just to show everyone, and I would like to provide that here as well. Mr. Hurth, would you be able to put that on the big screen?
Maybe. If it comes back here, where did it go? We need a lot of problems. There we go.
While he's pulling that up, essentially the purpose of it is to plug residents in with what's going on in the village. I would hope to share some sort of like spotlight. It shows here the first article on the left side, just as welcome to the villager, but that could be anything in future newsletters. And then I thought community events was really important to let people know. This kind of all stems from the housing report too. They kind of talked about people kind of not being plugged in necessarily, you kind of had to know somebody to know what's going on in the village. I think this could be one solution to that. Facebook is a great resource too. The website is a great resource. I think we need to really reach people where they are. I think this could possibly, reach the rest of the people that maybe we're not reaching on a continuous basis. So I think there'd be a good community events spot there. The other one is a featured article like about an event. This one in particular could be about Juneteenth that's coming up. Melody wrote a nice little thing about that. And then the QR code goes to the site to set up vendors for that. So trying to get some more participation with that event. On the back side, it could be more about like resources and different programs that we have. I know there's like the KIA Steering Lock is a program, the tree program. The other part, like community resources, could be something. I've had the mayor, I've enlisted him in helping out with some of those. Like it could be, the carrying place off the top of my head, just different things like a utility assistance, different things that we think that would be helpful for residents to know, kind of funding that's available to them. The other little spot is a resident spotlight. So really, I just want it to be really positive and just kind of really instill some community and really be uplifting. So I think having a nice feature story on the front, which is like Juneteenth, and then more of a resident spotlight on the back. There was also some feedback was that, we could spotlight some employees every so often. And then I thought volunteers needed was very important. I think they're another point of the newsletter is to really engage people. So we want to give them information and we want to give them the resources that are available to them, because I know that Hamilton County is a really resource-rich county. We want to make sure our residents are receiving those. And then also, I think as far as engagement, we could get more volunteers this way if we have kind of that plug in there. I just want to open it up to everyone else to receive some feedback. And this would be on color. It makes the village look more professional. It's just a one pager front and back as far as to keep the cost down. And this would be hand delivered door to door to everyone. And I think that's going to be quarterly or as needed. So for example, this kind of has a timeliness to it with the Juneteenth. So that would be delivered like first or second week in June. The next one would be more about the concert in the park, probably time it with that. So kind of time it with different things going on to get information out to people. The one after that could be about leaves or something of that sort. So just wanted to open it up to you all and try to get some feedback. And yeah.
I know you had mentioned, I watched it, so there was a lengthy discussion about this and community engagement community. I watched that online. I know that there was some discussion about having this when we have the app, definitely driving folks to the app so that we're getting more people onto the app. The ideal that, maybe one day this newsletter would be completely digital so that, we're saving on that as well. And I know that there was some question about what an estimated cost of this might be that the administration was going to look into.
Well, here's the good news. So we can produce this for less than $300 for a two-sided 8.5 by 11 in color. So I was able to find somebody who can do this. The conversation that Mr. Bussey, sorry, and I'm going to get that eventually.
Yeah.
The discussion we had this morning was we need to be forward thinking on this because if there are certain events and things that we want hit, we need to figure out what the drop dead date is for distribution and work backwards from production. So for this to be usable for the Juneteenth event, we really need to have this in production by the end of this week. So
Thursday.
And what I did this afternoon was sent elements off the website. A lot of the graphics and stuff that we're using on the website can be repurposed for this, and hopefully they were big files. Hopefully you got those this afternoon.
I did receive it. Thank you.
So we'll see how those how that all fits. So hopefully we're not completely reinventing the wheel.
So the production, there's a company that would produce it, right? They'll print it,
Correct.
so we don't have that.
So the company that I used to do all of our business cards and they didn't do, and I can't remember why we didn't do the leaf flyer with them last year, but other pieces that we've done, they do fairly economically, so.
And mailing is still a big expense, right?
Mailing would be cost prohibitive. It's about $800 to do one mailing.
So what will be the plan of distributing?
I volunteered my services. Mr. Bussey has volunteered his services.
And there's always been other volunteers in the past as well that have passed things out with different flyers and distribution.
I'm planning on using a little bit of child labor, so.
Yeah.
We'll be filing a complaint with that child labor thing.
Volunteer my kids.
So for something like this, Mr. Greenhoff had a suggestion a few months back with the kind of coincide with your libraries. He wanted to do like a bulletin board that was aesthetically pleasing
Yeah.
on the libraries where you could post approved items.
So I believe the ordinance would have to be changed because in the current ordinance, that's not allowed.
Okay.
The flyers can go in the box, but they can't be hanging outside the box.
So this, I think
Because of letter.
his suggestion was to put a box, like another box on the post, so that they couldn't be tampered with and things like that, but we could put approved postings within the box.
So they
I brought up something similar.
already have a shelf in them for
They
that,
do have a
right?
shelf. My concern is that, they're on private land, so obviously we would need, the homeowner's approval to be putting things.
Yeah, I presume there would definitely be communication with,
Yeah.
because by ordinance, they're responsible for the upkeep of that, so.
But I
Whatever.
would like to see, bulletin boards like you see when you go into Ridgewood off of Cedar Brook, or even Deer Park has those too, perhaps on some public areas that we have.
Do the people, the boxes, have they signed something? Is there some sort of agreement between the community and them?
They have a permit.
A permit? Okay, and then the ordinance, does it address access for the village or anything like that?
I don't think so.
Okay, well,
Because
yeah.
have to
they're
look
just
into it.
public accessible, because people can take
Yeah.
They
and put
can.
things into the.
So it's a national organization, I think, laid out like.
So
here's
you
kind
can
of
walk
a
on
template for
somebody's
the
private
ordinance to
property,
use and all
take a look
that.
at
So
what
it is a
they
national
get a
program,
flyer.
so I think the
Oh, I
presumption
think
was
that they
that a
could,
lot
but
of
I
stuff has
think
been
that
vetted.
people should know that
Mhm.
we're
Oh, sure, I
putting
get
stuff
that.
in there because it might leak
But,
glitter and stuff.
I mean, if
I
I
think it was implied
I mean,
that
if you're a
that's how they
resident,
would
I
be
guess,
used
you'd be
when we did the
expect people
ordinance.
to.
Okay.
So,
I don't think most people would have a problem
it only takes one.
to have a problem.
Yeah.
I think
So-
we've only had one house that had one installed and then was sold.
Mm.
And I believe that library is still up. As I checked, so that's the only one that I would be concerned about.
So what we need to do is just deal with this first one, and then we can figure out further logistics for the next, because
Mhm.
you're talking about this one having to go out probably
This week.
Yeah,
right? So
Yeah, so
let's figure out what we're doing with this.
So
one.
I was gonna ask that question, what date do we need to have these in your hands so you can deliver them?
As soon as possible, just when we're gonna get into the printers on Thursday, whenever they,
What's their
Didn't we say-
turnaround time?
Didn't we say June 6th
that
Rings a
sounds
bell.
right.
for some reason?
That'd be yeah.
Is there a sooner turnaround time? If the printer is getting it this week?
Printer needs 10 days.
Okay, so,
Include shipping.
So that's the problem is we need to have a schedule and stick to the schedule.
Yeah.
Because holding off and then going, oh my gosh, we need a newsletter creates an extra expense, extra stress, extra effort on everybody's part. So we just need to,
So where is this company located that they ship to? Is the question.
where's what now?
Where's the printing company located?
It's the guy's in Batavia and he sends stuff out in bulk.
Okay.
So our project will go with other projects, which is why it's so low in cost.
Could it be picked up?
No, it gets shipped.
He's doing everything.
We'll have
He's
it
just
drop,
a warehouse.
we'll have it
He's
drop
sitting there
shipped
doing
to
this.
Brian.
Yeah.
he's the broker.
Yeah, that's
he's
the
making money.
same company. Remember, we had that stuff delivered to your house?
oh yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so.
Any other feedback that you're looking for on this?
Yeah, am I missing anything as far as events? Because the next one won't go out until before the concert, probably like August,
Well, you have July 4th on there?
something like that. July 4th is on there, and it's gonna receive its own little banner, I think,
On there.
that Ron sent me. Yeah.
So I added a page on the website under village, upcoming village events, which has all the upcoming stuff. So the tree program, Yoga in the Park is there, Juneteenth, 4th of July parade, Celebration 76. So we'll be able to add stuff and take stuff out. I would And what I'm suggesting is that we repurpose this information. And then there's symbiosis between the newsletter and the website, and we'll use the same stuff for the app also.
And then I'm hoping to ease some of the timelines, try to get articles. So if anyone is interested in contributing or want to spotlight somebody, an employee, a resident, please send those to me like now. We can kind of store them and have them ready to go, because I think a lot of times the timeline is tricky for some people and you're scrambling. I don't want to be in that position. I want to, like we say, kind of have it ready. Like we're going to work backwards. Like these are the hard cutoffs, like as far as when it needs to go to the printers and when distribution is. And I really think those need to be like very structured, and that'll keep things running a little smoothly. And then the intent is to kind of phase out one day. I mean, we'll see what the readership is, see what the feedback is. But we have invested in this app. We want to use the newsletter to get the word out about the app, about the website, try to plug people in those ways, and just see how it goes. So I don't know how long this will, be a thing as far as physical newsletters, but just hoping to do it in the meantime to get a lot of information out to people, to inform them.
And for a history on this, I was researching, it's been since 2013 that we had a quarterly one. So it's
Cool. So we'll have them back at it. I'll get that going. I'll get that to Mr. Hirth. On Thursday, we discussed it, sent to the printers. Next, we discussed Juneteenth. I mean, it wasn't just that it's going pretty much. That was the discussion. The 4th of July picnic is being planned right now. I think, the main thing is the picnic. Details are going to get worked out. There was some discussion about Community Happens Here. It's an organization in Pleasant Ridge. It's a community-based organization. She was requesting that maybe we put up some banners for them to really highlight that organization, because they do these sidewalk hospitality events where they just try to get people together. They do art, usually focused around, they have food, different things for kids, it's activities. It's a really cool community building place. But that probably will not happen this year, at least, the banners, because it seems like there's a lot of different things going on as far as yoga in the park. I think the concert series and 4th of July, those are all going to be using our banners in those, what do you call them? The areas, different areas, the gateways. The gateways, yeah. So those are all going to be utilized this year. But I am in contact with Community Happens Here, and I will try to plug them in on different events going on. If they're very interested in coming and being a vendor at the Juneteenth event, and we can just see how we can plug them in different ways. The planting day was discussed. Not much to say about it. There was a few volunteers, and I don't know.
I said a few words at the beginning of that, thanking the volunteers and thanking both former Mayor Zafiro and former Mayor Hirth for what that program has become and the great day that it is. Thanking as well Councilman Snyder for putting together the sign up sheet for that, and Ms. Cheney for her long-term support of that.
And we only had 4 people show up. 3 of them were 70 and older. Pretty sad.
I had some feedback from people who wish they could come but had to work. And so there's the complication of we don't want to ask our our employees to come in on the weekend, but at the same time, I think that there would be more community involvement.
Volunteer park
weekends,
is still
so.
available.
Is
If they
it?
want to come down in the evening or weekends, right?
Yeah, there's
Stuff out there that needs to be planted.
administration was letting me know that there's still stuff to do. So if you find people who are interested, administration can certainly put them to work. Anything else, Mr. President?
Friends of the Parks met, or that's what we call the Parks Committee. And a resident, it was a youth resident, came and shared their experiences and kind of what they wanted from the park. Pretty much that was, they were looking for a skate park. So it was a cool conversation. They shared their experiences, just as far as not having a skate park, and then, what it would be like if they did have a skate park in our community. And that was a really cool conversation that we're considering having that be like a thing. So, we meet twice a month already. So maybe once a month, we kind of talk about more, it's kind of more of a closed meeting, something like this. But the other part of the month is to invite residents and kind of hear from them and be more engaging about the ideas, because we're trying to compile all these ideas and then make a master plan and then submit that to the administration for some sort of drawing with a consultant.
And I want to call out Nico, was the young man's name who did this presentation. He's 14 years old and had a really nice presentation, had photos of other skate parks, both here locally, what they look like over in, was it St. Bernard? Is that where one of them is?
Mhm.
Yeah, what that looks like, as well as one up in, was it up in the Cleveland area, or I forget where the other one was, but it was up in Northern Ohio. Said it was one of his favorite ones they've seen. So, he was showing photographs of ones that he that had his approval, and talked very eloquently about the benefits of this kind of thing, both in terms of kids getting to meet one another, being able to be in events that both individually as well as in a group. And I believe if we don't have that in PDF format, we can get that probably in PDF format to any council members that would like to look at that presentation. Just direct that to Mr. Bussey.
And then the next Parks meeting is going to be June 8th at 6 p.m. in this room. And then the next community engagement meeting is scheduled for Tuesday, June 13th at 9:30 a.m. in this room. That concludes my
Great.
report.
One of the, did you have a question? So, all right. One of the questions that I got from residents concerning all that, that I promised I would bring up with the administration and I forgot to, has to do with Wi-Fi in the park. They see that there is a park Wi-Fi, just like we have an admin Wi-Fi here in the building, that there is a park Wi-Fi thing that shows up, but it's password protected. And just want a clarification, is that supposed to be that way, or is it?
That's our camera system.
That's the camera system. Okay, so that's the explanation for why it says park. When you're in there.
Yeah, we don't have a public Wi-Fi system.
Right. I know that it's been discussed and that we're working on that, looking for funding and everything.
Oh, and then we may have a member appointed. Or do you want
Oh,
to share
yes, Phyllis Thomas, I'm appointing to the Community Engagement Committee as a resident. She has been active with the Parks Committee and has expressed interest in providing more volunteer hours to the Community Engagement Committee, which I certainly welcome. And if you know anyone else that's interested and passionate about community engagement, certainly let me and Mr. Bussey know. So welcome to Phyllis Thomas. I believe everyone has met her. If you haven't, I will try to get her into a full council meeting to introduce herself. Anything else?
Not taking engagement?
All right. Let's see, education, Ms. Cheney, in your report?
No report other than last day of school is Thursday for Cincinnati Public Schools.
Thursday of this week. Correct. Yes. Mr. Fisher, any nonprofit? Okay. And old business, Finance Committee, Mr. Fisher.
Finance, but tonight, everything that was discussed in finance was covered by Mr. Hurst at his report. And we're just going through the financial packet and reasons for the levy, the two revisions of the levy. And that's for the report on finance.
Thank you, Mr. Fisher. So for old business, if you recall at our previous council meeting, there was discussion about strategic plan, about a formation of a mission statement around that, and making sure that we had unanimous buy-in on what the 6 priorities would be of the strategic plan, and what the kind of descriptive statement about those 6 priorities, what those would be. Mr. Fisher volunteered to be the point person to receive council members' input on that. And so I believe everyone has had an opportunity to provide that information to Mr. Fisher. Would you give a report on the feedback that you received on that?
Yes, I do appreciate all those that did give feedback, positive and negative, and all the rest in between. I do appreciate those that sent over all their information and all their points and everything that they wanted covered. And then what I did was I took all that information and basically made it down to bullet points where it's just everything that was discussed in the past. And the whole report that we did have, the strategic plan, is basically in this framework, including what anybody else's concerns or whatever else they wanted is included in here. It's very basic. But what I feel is that this should be a point of just 6 bullet points that we know we're gonna work on, and every time a year comes up, does it fit within this framework? If yeah, we'll pursue it because it's gonna be our strategic plan. If not, we shouldn't waste our time on it. That's basically what this is. There's a mission statement here. It's a little long, but I invite anybody to shorten it. I should have tried it.
No, that's good.
It's good. Some people find it a little too long. You can cut out a few words, but I figured that this covers the main ideas. I think we should vote on this tonight and pass it and get it in resolution form for us to have in the village. Then I would invite everybody, as step number 2 is, on any of these points, send me your long list of all your different ideas that you have. Every last idea that we will put together, and I'll have compiled for next council meeting if we pass or not, but at least we have information and we could start discussion on that. Is that's younger people. I'll name all the things that people told me that they want to have seen fall under that category, and all that, I'll send it out to everybody that would all be on the same page. See what everybody's ideas are. The step after that will be that we'll put together an idea. I mean, you guys could argue on any part of this, in my opinion. After that, once we have the full list, we'll put together an idea of what we should work on first and what direction we should take and how we should implement that. And that will try to make the document that we pass in council. Does that make sense to everyone?
Mr. Fisher, thank you for your work on that.
Did you want a motion to accept this mission statement?
Yes, we have from last time the table.
Make a motion to accept the mission statement.
Second.
All those, would we need a roll call on that?
Oh, yeah, I think it'd be appropriate for this.
Okay,
Yes.
roll call, please.
Ms. Cheney,
Are we just doing a mission statement, or are we doing a strategic plan for Hamilton County?
I think we're just adopting this document.
We're adopting this document tonight.
Yeah, for
Yeah, but
clarification,
What about the strategic plan?
This is
I mean, for Hamilton County.
So, this is the understanding that I understood from my conversation, including with Mr. Hurth, is that this will be the document that we could give over to Hamilton County, showing what we're working on. The entire strategic plan that we had last time from, what was his name?
Greg Dale.
Yeah, so the county is not looking for details. What they want to know is that so we've invested all this time in discussion, and these are the 6 areas that we're going to be concentrating on. And the work's not over yet. Council, out of these 6 areas, needs to tell us what priorities do we want to work on at this point in time. And I think that's the next step that we're asking for is get your ideas together, let's filter through those. But this becomes our guiding consciousness, so to speak.
So the only thing different here that I see is the mission statement is added, right? And what we tried to pass the last 2 times and got turned down.
The 6 items are slightly changed as well, is my understanding from the feedback that was received. So if you remember what the 6 priorities were that were in that in the draft, those are was it 4 of them are exactly the same and 2 of them are tweaked a little bit.
Right. So exactly, you're 100% right. What I tried doing is take all the information that's on that document, implement it into here.
Right.
Including the information.
I read the other one and compared them. Okay.
Right. And including information that I got from Lou input and information that I got from Dan and information I got from them. Everybody, I tried to consolidate all of that and stuffing it into here so everybody felt included.
Okay.
Okay, this document covers all of everybody's ideas. But this is just, as you said, this is gonna be our banner. This is what we're gonna look at. Every time we have something come up, does it fit with all this? Or part of this, good. If it has nothing to do with that, then it's not part of our strategic
And the
plan.
intent is this will be shared with the county, to say, here we are, here's our
This
mission
is
and plan for our strategic plan.
correct.
Yeah, this is
Yeah,
our
I
outline,
understand all that,
strategic plan, the details fill in.
Right. This
And
is
based on
index of the
priority
book.
counts.
The book is coming after. This is the-
Yeah, I understand all that, I just don't know why it's taken us this long. But anyway,
Well, let's get back
do
to
we
that.
need,
Just-
yeah, make a
that's
motion.
just-
Can we do that?
And if you guys recall that in the examples from Greg Dale about what when he puts together the packet, once we've done the rest of our work and they put together the packet for us, one of those on the front, at the very beginning of it is a resolution of council about what our priorities are. And that's that document. It looks exactly like that, except it's as a resolution.
Yeah.
All right. There was some people wanting pause on that because they recognized that we were going to be passing a resolution and felt like it wasn't really reflecting what the goals of all of council was. And I believe at this point we have everyone on board with these 6 items.
So I made a motion to adopt a mission statement for our strategic plan.
And the goals.
Is there a
And the
second?
bullet points.
And there's a second,
Yeah, I say.
So I had Mr. Knapp second.
so we'll do a roll call with Ms. Cheney. So our
He's good.
Ms. Cheney,
Yes,
Mr. Fisher,
Yes.
Mr. Knapp,
Yes.
Mr. Marks,
Yes.
Ms. Snyder.
All right, thank you,
Mission
everyone.
statement is adopted.
All right, great, thank you, everyone. Any other statements on that old business? Mr. Fisher,
Old business?
anything else concerning that?
That was it.
Okay. Any other old business? All right, so, there was actually a couple of things that I wanted to say. One was to recognize Officer Timothy James of Springfield Township Police Department, who died in service on the 31st of March. He is not included on that Ohio Peace Officers Memorial because it's typically behind, right? But wanted to make sure that he was mentioned. I know that we mentioned him at the time in our council meeting. We received a card from his family concerning that, so I want to make sure that we mentioned that. And with that, so Monday, June 19th is our next executive.
No, that is not right.
Actually,
So this is all
We made a
incorrect.
motion in finance because we were
Right.
meeting the 26th. We need to make a motion here to change the council. I don't know how we do executive because
Okay,
No, council could have.
We can do them all.
yeah.
we
Yeah.
made a motion, we move the Monday, June 19th meetings to Monday,
All
June,
meetings.
all 3 meetings, Monday, June 19th to Monday, June 26th.
Second.
okay.
Is there a second?
Hold on a second, we're writing this down.
I just need to know who's seconding.
Who seconded? Marks was first,
Knapp.
Knipp was second. And so that's gonna be Monday, June 26th, Executive Committee meeting at 5:30 PM, Finance Committee at 6:30 PM, full council at 7:30, or immediately after the conclusion of Finance Committee meeting. And then the next meeting after that will be July 17th, is that correct?
Correct.
Executive Committee at 5:30 PM, Finance Committee at 6:30 PM, full council at 7:30 or immediately at the
We need to
conclusion of
vote on the
finance.
motion.
I understand. So that would be let's see. So there's a motion on the board for that in a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Without objection, I think that is unanimous. For the additional meeting, or excuse me, additional announcements, we have our Memorial Day federal holiday is this coming Monday, May 29th. The village's offices will be closed in observance of that. The Juneteenth event will be at Volunteer Park Friday, June 16th from 4 PM to 9 PM. And then the Juneteenth federal holiday will be on the 19th, which is that next Monday. The village offices will be closed in observance of that. The July 4th parade and picnic will be Tuesday, July 4th. The parade starts off at 11 AM and the picnic in Volunteer Park will be at 11:30. I want to thank everyone for their service this evening. And is there a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Is there a second?
Okay.
All those in favor?
Yeah, come on,
Aye.
somebody.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Without objection, I think that's unanimous. Thank you, everyone.
All right. So we have a board.
Yeah.
Let me sit